Have you ever said, "I need you"? Sounds romantic, right? But that's not love. That's fear. Because need arises from lack. Love, on the other hand, arises from completeness. People constantly confuse the difference between "I need you" and "I want you." Need is a necessity. Desire is a choice. One comes from fear, the other from freedom. And most of us choose fear. In 5 minutes, you'll see that all the need relationships in your life are actually based on fear. And the real question is, do you have the courage to choose love? But first, who do you need most? That name is your biggest fear. Chapter 1, Need and Love. 2 completely different things. When people say love, they usually mean need, and they don't know the difference. What is need? Need is the effort to fill a void. I need you equals I'll be incomplete without you. This sounds romantic, but it's not. Because what lies beneath is, if you leave, I'll be finished. This is fear. Pure fear. And a relationship built on fear means constant tension. Because you constantly need to control. You constantly need to be sure. Are you still here? You won't leave me, will you? Need doesn't give freedom. It tries to hold on. What is love? Love, on the other hand, is sharing that comes from wholeness. I love you equals I am already whole, and I want to share this wholeness with you. The difference is huge. There is no lack in love. Therefore, there is no fear. I'll be sad if you leave, but I'll still be whole. This is freedom, pure freedom, and a relationship built on freedom means constant peace, because you're not trying to hold on. You're simply choosing to be together. 2 different sentences. 2 sentences. I need you. I want you. The first is fear. The second is love. I need you equals I would be incomplete without you. I want you equals it would be nice to have you here. The difference seems small, but it's very big, because need is dependence. Wanting is choice. Dependence is a chain. Choice is freedom. Why do people confuse need with love? Because that's what we were taught. Look at the songs. I can't live without you. I can't do without you. You are everything to me. These are all the language of need, not love. But we find this romantic because need creates intensity. The feeling of I can't do without this person is a very strong feeling. It creates dependence. But this is not love. This is the intensity of fear. True love is calmer, more peaceful. It's more free. And that's why it sometimes seems boring, but it's actually the strongest. 3 signs of need. How do you know if you're needy or in love? 3 signs. 1. Constant search for reassurance. Does he/she love me? Does he/she still want to be with me? This is a need, because you're not sure. In love, you are sure, because you trust yourself. 2. Desire to control. Where is he/she? Who is he/she with? What is he/she doing? This is a need, because there is a fear of losing him/her. In love, you give freedom, because there is security. 3. Fear of hurt. What will I do if he/she leaves me? This is a need, because you feel incomplete. In love, there is sadness, but no collapse, because you are already complete. Chapter 2. Fear-based relationships. 3 types of needs. Fear-based relationships often appear as love on the surface, but deep down they are fueled by a sense of lack and manifest as 3 basic needs. When these needs are not recognized, the relationship, instead of liberating the 2 individuals, transforms into a structure that makes them mutually dependent. Type 1. Emotional need. The first type is the most common. Emotional need. In this type of relationship, the individual consciously or unconsciously believes, this person makes me happy, and I cannot be happy without them. Initially, this thought seems romantic, and many films and stories even portray it as true love. However, in reality, it places a heavy burden of responsibility on the partner. Because in this case, instead of establishing their own inner balance, the individual completely ties their happiness to the other person's behavior. The expectation of make me laugh, make me feel good, make me feel valued, gradually turns into an invisible pressure. No matter what the other person does, it can never be enough, because it's impossible for one person to fill all of another's emotional voids. As a result, both parties become exhausted. One gets tired of constantly trying to be enough, while the other experiences disappointment because they don't receive the emotional satisfaction they expect. The fundamental mistake here is believing that happiness comes from external sources. However, it is also known psychologically that lasting emotional balance is formed not from external sources, but through internal awareness and self-esteem. Type 2. Physical need. The second type is more concrete and visible. Physical need and dependence. In this type of relationship, the person thinks, I cannot continue my life without this person. This can sometimes be material, financial support, living standards, a sense of security. Sometimes it relates to daily life, housework, organization, sharing responsibilities. While at first glance this may seem like mutual support, the line is very thin. Mutual support builds a healthy bond, while dependence weakens an individual's capacity to stand on their own 2 feet. Over time, a person begins to forget their own power and unknowingly relinquishes control of their life to the other party. This disrupts equality in the relationship. One party becomes the provider, the other the dependent. At this point, the relationship is no longer a free choice, but a necessity. In a genuine bond, people are stronger together. However, in a dependent structure, people become needy of each other. This undermines both respect and balance in the long run. Type 3. Need for identity. The third type is the deepest and least recognized need, the need for identity. At this point, a person defines their existence through the relationship. I am their spouse, their partner, the person in their life. In other words, the answer to the question, who am I, depends entirely on the other person. This is especially common in long-term relationships. Over time, people push their individual identities into the background, and their relationship identities come to the forefront. The problem is that when that person leaves your life, you feel like you've lost not only a relationship, but yourself as well. Therefore, for some people, breakups become not just an emotional crisis, but an existential crisis. The question, who am I, remains unanswered, because the individual has not fully constructed their own identity. They have only assumed a role within a relationship. The common ground of 3 needs. These 3 different types of needs, emotional, physical, and identity-based, actually stem from a single common root, the belief in incompleteness. Deep down, the individual believes, I am not enough on my own. I need someone to complete me. However, this belief is not true. It is a learned thought pattern, because a healthy individual can exist within a relationship without losing themselves. Love is not 2 incomplete pieces complementing each other. It is 2 whole people who choose each other. A true bond arises not from need, but from a conscious choice. And the most important point is this: a person is not born incomplete. They are led to believe they are incomplete. As long as this belief remains unnoticed, the individual constantly searches for a complement outside themselves. But the moment this is realized, the perspective on relationships changes completely. Because then, the relationship becomes a shared experience, not an obligation. Chapter 3: Love Relationships. The connection that comes from wholeness. So, what does a truly healthy and deep love relationship look like? Contrary to what most people think, the answer to this question lies not in finding someone, but in finding yourself first. Because true love is born from wholeness, not from lack. Principle 1: complete yourself. First, the most fundamental and critical point of a love relationship is this: complete yourself first. Most people unconsciously grow up with the belief, I will be complete if I have someone in my life. However, this thought, while romantic, is actually the beginning of a deep dependency. Because in this case, instead of recognizing their own inner emptiness, the person tries to fill this void with someone else. But the truth is, a person is already complete by nature. What is missing is the person's failure to see themselves in this way. This is where the ego comes in and constantly whispers, something is missing. You need more. You must find someone to complete you. This voice is powerful because it is familiar, but that's not true. Complimenting oneself means being able to be alone, finding peace on one's own, and feeling good without being dependent on external factors. It's not about loving solitude. It's about not avoiding it. If a person can be happy alone, then they are truly ready for a relationship. Because they enter a relationship, not because they need it, but because they want to share. Principle 2: choose the relationship, don't demand. The second fundamental principle of a healthy love relationship is this: choose the relationship, don't demand it. Need-based relationships have expectations. You must make me happy. You must understand me. You must give me this. While these sentences may seem innocent on the surface, they contain an obligation deep down. And where there is obligation, there is no freedom. But love is a choice, not an obligation. Instead of saying you have to do this, being able to say, would you like to do this together, completely changes the nature of the relationship. A demanding relationship creates pressure over time. People begin to distance themselves and pretend to meet expectations. This wears down, even exhausts, the relationship. However, a relationship based on choice is strengthened by two people choosing each other anew every day. In this kind of bond, no one is obligated. Everyone is there voluntarily. And that's precisely why these kinds of relationships are more vibrant, more real, and more sustainable. Principle 3: give freedom. The third, and perhaps most difficult, principle: giving freedom. Relationships based on need involve control. Don't leave me. Don't go. Stay here forever. This fear is understandable because people are afraid of losing. But acting on this fear doesn't protect the relationship. On the contrary, it slowly suffocates it. But true love doesn't try to control. True love allows space instead of clinging. Being able to say, if you want to go, you can go. But if you choose to stay, that's valuable to me, is the most mature form of love. Yes, this approach is risky, because when you give freedom, there's a possibility the other person will leave. But it's important to remember this. Trying to hold on to someone by force is actually losing them. Because a bond that isn't free isn't love, it's addiction. True love is when two people are connected not by chains, but by conscious choices. Need or connection. Does everyone need someone? Actually, no. Human nature dictates the desire for connection. They want to be understood, to share, to grow together. But this isn't the same as needing. Need arises from fear. On the other hand, connection arises from love. In need, people try to hold on. In connection, they share. In need, people say, I can't do without you. In connection, they say, I want to be with you. The difference between these two approaches determines the fate of a relationship. Finally, does everyone need someone? No. Everyone wants to connect with someone, but need not equal connection. Need comes from fear. Connection comes from love. The question is, which do you choose? Will you say, I need you? Or will you say, I want you? Need is holding on. Love is letting go. And only when you let go do you truly possess. If you like this video, comment, love is a choice, not a need. I wonder how many people will understand